live at 5. Well, 7.
Live at 7.
At 7.
Woohoo.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. Oh, my cat's just starting me out to go out. It can be ignored. It's fine. It's fine.
That's fine. He'll manage.
He will manage. Oh, God. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Cold, but I'm okay.
Cold. Chilly. I've got a new location because I've turned this room upside down a little bit at the minute. So you are resting on my fold-out bed thing, which is turned on its side, sat like this. But it works because I have the landing light, big light.
I was gonna say, feeling so lit.
I'm feeling so lit. Ahoy there!
Your eminences.
So.
Oh, good morrow, fair tofty.
Yeah, I'm no old English person. How doth you be doing? Dead English. Right, well, your mother. How are you doing?
All right, my friend.
That's more my speed. Pretty much.
Oh, delirious.
Yeah.
Delirious.
It's been I've got to be honest, and I hope someone else likes this book out there. It's been a slog. I'm very sorry that I didn't have it finished by yesterday, which was the original date. All my fault. Lisa's perfect as usual. I suck.
Far from perfect. I literally finished it yesterday.
Well, I had planned to finish it yesterday. I had the hours down. I was like, yeah, cool. And I was going to have less hours yesterday to read because of Tuesday, but then work wanted me to actually work, which I think is quite rude. If I'm honest.
Disgraceful.
Because I had plans. I was in the office. People kept talking to me. Very rude.
Stop it. I didn't like you.
And I don't know if your office is like this, and I do it too. It's not just the people I work with. I also am guilty of this. But they will start conversations without actually saying your name, so they just like turn to you, start conversation. So you've got to be like aware of your surroundings. I do the same thing. I do it to my manager all the time. I'll turn to him and be like, "So that thing that we're working on," and he goes, "What? And then he does it back. So at least we both do it. But
yeah,
be aware of my surroundings and who be talking to me. Me hands be dry. Why would your hands be wet? Is that what I am? I don't think that's what I translated to. But sure.
My hands be dry, me heart is. I think that's supposed to be like I'm doing well or something. I don't know. Old English pirate speak.
Old English pirate. I struggled through an echo of things to come too. It was heavy going. Yes, it was.
Yeah, we were talking about this before we came live. Like, it could have done with being 100 to 150 pages shorter. And, like, it still could have got the point across.
Yeah, I think the thing that I'm currently struggling with, and like I said last time, it possibly is the audiobook. However, I know last live show I said I was going to read it physically for this one. I then came across another problem, which is I don't know how to say anyone's name, and none of it makes sense when I read it with my eyes as it does when I listen to it with my ears. So I reverted back to audiobook, and then there's just so many people, and they all have very similar names. I think one of the things as well that is very confusing for me personally is the whole Talcumar,
Caden
thing. Like, he's got so many names, and I understand the point, but it kind of brings me back to when we were reading The Root of Kings, and everyone has got like another name, and everyone doesn't die, and it just kind of gave that. Because I was like, who is this?
Like, even within the same few pages, someone will call him Talcumar, someone will call him Archive David or David, and then someone will, like, I don't know, call it, like, and when we're talking from his perspective, he's referred to as Caden. So and then it isn't 100% clear. I know it's in the book, when it flicks back to like a memory that he's having, it sort of is in italics. But on the audiobook, it literally, just because someone blacks out doesn't necessarily mean that a memory. Do you know what I mean? But with him, it's like I would have liked to have been told that like a memory. Sometimes it did say, and then the memory began and whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, just in case anyone watches this back, we talk spoilers.
Oh yeah, everything's
all the
spoilers.
time. Everything's spoilers.
I think we've done this enough now.
Like it, because there's loads of times, the amount of times people get knocked out in this book.
Yeah, and
all that fade. Like how many times did Asher fade in this fucking book?
Yeah, and I noticed a lot more in this book as well. I don't know if it was as frequent in the first book. There were so many times where different characters, and it really winds me up when they do this, they release the breath they did not know they had been holding. And I was like, this is a lot more frequent than I think unless it's like a YA book. Like, I know everyone uses it once or twice, but I just feel like it just kept going. Everyone was just holding breaths that they didn't realize they'd done. And I was just like, do you not know how breathing works? In, out.
Oh yeah, I think the thing is the POVs that we have are interesting. Like I really do like finding out about Caden's past and finding along with Caden like what he did as our kind of aid and what he did as Talcamar and why he changed his name. Like all that was very interesting, but it took far too long for us to get round to the point of like it was near the end of the book where it was like, oh, so that's why he ended up changing his name to our kind of aid because he became like a mass murderer and he didn't want to associate himself with that. But like that whole thing in the middle where he was continuously going to different people, so he'd meet someone and then all of a sudden a memory would be triggered and then he meets someone else and a memory would be triggered and that just got a bit repetitive and a bit tiresome. And I was like, seriously, how many more people do you have to go to meet for a memory to trigger for you to realize what you did?
Like, there was a lot of backwards and forwards. I felt it just felt very repetitive, and now I know it kind of needed to be for a lot of things to kind of make their point or come across as seriously as they are. But I was like, geez, can we just? And I did rate this book 3 stars. I think you rated it similarly.
3.5, because I do half stars. You know,
you do half stars. I don't do half stars.
The thing is, it didn't warrant a 3 for me, and it didn't warrant a 4. Like, so this is why I kind of like enjoy doing 5 stars because it was sitting at like a very average sort of like 2.5. Like it was just okay.
Yeah.
And then the back end of the book where everything was ramped up, and we were getting to the point of everything, and then everything sort of sped up a bit. Things were happening very snappily, like that bumped it up a whole star for me because it was just like, and then the ending was just like, what the fuck? So for me, like, that book raised it for me.
I get that. Personally, I think that's why it was a 3 stars for me, because it took the whole book to get to anything that I was like, oh, we're getting somewhere now. It's just a bit, it's good. Well, don't get me wrong. If you don't know me and my ratings, which you probably don't, my 3 stars are, it's still a good book. It just didn't make me love it. Like, I'd recommend it to other people.
I would recommend it, and like as I said to you before we came live, I think what I do need to do maybe is immersion read this, and like when I've got, not obviously not immediately after this bit, but after we've done it once, but reread it and immersion read them and like tab and annotate them, because I think if we're solely focusing on this, and then I think it probably will still be a middle book for me, like give me middle book syndrome.
Yeah,
but I think it might be a little bit better because it's easy to lose track as well.
Well, yeah, and that's exactly what Tufty said as well. need to draw a map of connections between everybody, but I fear it's already too late. Yeah, this is the thing. I think this is why it's given me Ruin of Kings a little bit, because it does feel that way for me. The thing that's frustrating as well is that I feel as though they're not written the same, don't get me wrong. I feel like the Legacy trilogy jumps between perspectives within chapters constantly. And this does the same thing. However, for this series, it took me, like, sometimes it would take me a second to just be like, who am I with? What's this? That could just be me being daft. Quite possible. But at the same time, I feel like I grasped it really well with Legacy, and maybe it's just because the names were a lot simpler in Legacy. I don't know. But is this the one where Asher is in the dark tunnel? Yes, it is. No, it's this one, and she gets lost, and then she stays in the tunnels and touches a sword which marks her head. That bit also confused me a little bit, but what do I know? Not a lot, if I'm honest. I do like Asher in this. I liked Asher in the last one as well, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty cool that she's now.
We didn't get enough of her.
Sword.
We didn't get enough of Asher, to be fair. Like when I first started reading the book, I can't English today. When I first started reading it, and we were going constantly like it was Cade, and I was like, "Where's Asher? Where's Weir? Where's David?" And then when the people started coming in, and I was like, "All right, that makes sense. That's like I'm more in it now." But I don't think we got enough of Asher, Weir. I kind of missed having their perspectives because it was very much a Caden book.
It was. I also don't know how much more of Weir we could have had personally, because it's not until the end of the book that his story really kicks off anyways. It's just very much like I'm sat here being I don't know how many times I could read about him being North Warden, but no one calls him North Warden because no one respects him. Like, I feel like there would just be so much more of that, because that's kind of where he's at during that time period where we're flipping between Caden and Asher. He also confuses me because he has multiple names. That's not fun. Don't enjoy that. But I don't know. I do feel for him in the sense that he's gifted and everyone hates him, and his mother even hates him.
His mother, oh my god, I wanted to kill her from like the offset.
Do you know what?
The way that she treated her daughter, and like you locked up your daughter, like, oh my god, I immediately disliked her.
I agree. I think, again, going back to Legacy, and not to compare them completely comparatively, but I feel like that strong mother figure is present in both of these series that we've read, with Victor's mum being not Victor's mum. What's her face's mum? Can't remember her name. The evil woman. That's annoying. I just don't remember her name. But there is a mother in the Legacy trilogy, and she is similar, in my opinion, of the whole like power grabbing, but I feel like she's more conniving, whereas Weir's mum is just very much like, you're gifted, I hate you.
Yeah, she's very much a drama queen. Like, the thing is, I forget her name as well, but she, in the Legacy, she was doing what she thought was the right thing by the people. Like, but Galandra was purely focused on like her feelings and what she thought and what she felt was best for everyone, and she didn't really take into account what she thought would be better for the people. Her prejudices took over everything. And I will say that throughout this book there were times that I did sort of like it did sort of get me a little bit, because when I thought his sister were dead, when his sister got injured, and the way that it was described, I was like, she can't die, because he's clearly, because I kept thinking that she was going to die, and that would be the bit that turned him dark, because in my mind, the way that things were going with the Oath Stone, and the fact that I thought that his little guard, who was like niggling at his brain all the time, was going to convince him to use the stone, and that he was going to be like the one out of the three that turned to the other side, if that makes sense. Like, it was setting it up for that, and I don't know if that's ever going to actually become a thing, because obviously he's now lost his mum. So even though they weren't on the best of terms, that whole ending, which we can get to in a minute, but was just absolutely devastating. Like, that could easily turn a person, because had the administrators and people supported him to begin with, he wouldn't have had to resort to taking him there, and then all those people wouldn't have died.
That's true.
When those they described, it reminded me of like beetles with wings, like scorpions with like yeah. So it worries me, because I keep thinking that the way that Weir keeps thinking is, I do agree with his mum that although he had noble intentions at the moment, he's like, I wouldn't use it, I wouldn't force people. He's got that, I can't remember his name, but he's got that guy on his shoulder, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, just use it, just, they all need to vote for you. And I think it could easily turn him, and I'm worried. Yeah. Especially now that Davian is also stuck behind the barrier.
Yeah. The woman's name was Abigail. I found it.
Abigail,
whatever freaking name was. Yeah, I had to look that up. It was annoying my brain. That section as well with Davian getting stuck behind the boundary. I was like, okay, it's picking up now, and I'm pretty sure that happens when you've still got, like, if you're on 2 times speed, like a good 2 hours left of the book. So it took me over 20 hours to get to the point where things are picking up, and I get it. Like, these things need to happen. That world building needed to happen. Maybe for me personally, I'm just not in the headspace for this sort of book at the minute. That's quite possible. I mean, we all, ebbs and flows and whatever.
I don't know. I think it just generally is a slow. I think it generally is just a slow book.
I am very glad it wasn't just me that was struggling with it. Well, the minute that you went, oh, I'm struggling with it too, I was like, oh, thank God it's not just me. Because not that I want you to struggle through books at all, but like,
you bitch, you want me to struggle? You haven't done that.
But it's just nice to know that it's not necessarily all me.
But I do agree that you do need to be in the right headspace for it. I don't think the thing is,
it's not the sort of palate cleanser.
No,
like, it's not a palate cleanser at all. I mean, you can see they're chunky. I've got them just behind me. They're huge.
I just think, like, you can't call this a good book. I don't know how. I know that it's got a bad rap. People are like, oh, it's too slow, which I do agree it is slow.
Exactly what we're saying.
It would be a struggle for me to dislike the book.
Personally. Oh yeah, I don't think it's a bad book.
The writing's good, like the characters are good, the story is interesting. It is just really slow, and I did find myself losing interest. Which, to be honest, all the epic fantasies I've read, I can't remember that ever happening before.
I was thinking that because, again, I'm just changed this live show to the Legacy live show, if I'm completely honest. When I was reading that series, because that was another one for us that was chunky, especially the second book, at points I just couldn't put it down because I was like, what's going to happen next? But I feel like a big part of trilogy middle book syndrome, I struggle a lot with them when there's a lot of traveling, or like they have to achieve certain things in order for the plot to progress, or they have to be somewhere for the plot to progress. Like, without this book, there would, and I don't know why it took 600 pages or whatever to get Davian stuck behind the boundary, to get Weir to have his mum killed. Like, she could have died at the start, really. Like, there was an assassin attack. There was multiple assassin attacks. Just put his mum in that place, and the same thing.
Like, just rewrite it and kill his mum off at the beginning.
Yeah, but I also understand that without all of the to-in and fro-in with, like, the administrators and his mum, there would have been no way that Weir would have had a reason to take everyone to the boundary to see what was going on, consequently getting everyone killed. But I don't know. Whereas I feel like with other middle books that we've read recently, because we read a lot of trilogies, the middle book isn't just a means to an end. There's other things going on. And I don't know. I think I agree. I think I realised why I wasn't keen on these long history sections. I don't have any significant connection to any of the participants. Yeah, like, who are these people? Why do we care? and that's a big thing for me, especially at the minute. I'm like, why do I care? Why do I want to know about these people? Like, I just don't.
I get like what's it called, the tenant.
The
like
tenants.
That he was part of some bigger what are they called?
The tenants.
Oh, the Venerate.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, the Venerate. So they were part of the Venerate, and he was like the strongest one. And I think the historical sections were trying to show you that he, initially, we were supposed to be thinking that he was under L's control, and that he was a big follower of L, and he was doing everything that L was supposed to be telling him to do. We then find out that he actually really wasn't following L, that he was being sneaky. But it really wasn't being sneaky because he still ended up being a mass murderer. But like, I don't know what kind of like reverse psychology thing he was trying to do there, but he like, I made it on these people. I don't like, I don't understand that bit. But yeah, I just, like I said, I think we could have just got there a lot quicker than we did. And but when I sit and think about it, I don't know what exactly we could have cut out, because in each memory bit we meet a different person. It's a different scenario, isn't it? So we find out that he locked that woman up, and then in the tributary, and like she was being drained the way that Asher ends up being drained, and that he blames him for that. And we meet other people from the Venerate that sort of formed part of his little group of friends that weren't really friends. So I don't know. I don't know if I think about it, like what could have been cut out. But this is the first book in a long time that I've just was like, I really don't like. It's not that I don't want to pick it up. It was
a lot. Like, I think within the space of reading this, I picked up. Well, I was also reading multiple fantasy romances, which is very off piste for me, if I'm honest. But like, I was flying through some of them.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. This is completely different genre. Like, it's epic fantasy. There is so many more stakes in this than there are in my little stab romance. But at the same time, I was just like, I didn't have any particular love for any character. Not to say that I didn't like them. I liked them. I wanted to know what was going to happen. I really want to finish the series and see what happens in the third book, because I feel like it's all going to come to a head. But there was no one in this book in particular that I was like, yeah, I need to know what happens next. I need to know what happens to them next. Because there were parts, like you said, where like you'd read a bit from Asher, and then you go back to Caden, and I'm like, I don't care anymore. I really don't.
So we get it. He was a bad guy.
Yeah, just realized
he murdered lots of people. He betrayed his friends.
Yeah.
Like, come on, like, what is the point in all this?
Yeah.
But the thing is, as well, I kind of think that we went through all of that, and then he finally came to like accept the fact that he was like our kind of age, Talcumar, murderer, bad person, and that he consciously made the decision to remove his memory so he could be a good person and fight for what he believes was the right side. But after all that turmoil and him worrying about telling his friends, Davy gave 0 fucks. Davy was like, have you
He's my friend.
Yeah. He's like, have you actually changed? Are you on the right side? Yeah. Like, okay, I'm going to free you then. I'm like, all that for like, all that build up. And Davian really did not give a fuck.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. Well, it is because he's a mass murderer, but like it's not.
That's fine.
It's not. It wasn't a big deal because it's true because he's a different person now.
Yeah.
Like the old him was removed. It was like he's been like reincarnated or whatever. Like, do you know what I mean? It's that kind of situation. So he is a fully different person with past memories of what he used to be. So I still don't get how that is all going to tie in with what's happening now. Like, it's great to know his backstory now, but like, it's had zero effect on what's happened in the present because his friends don't even care.
Yeah. It's the same as this. They fill in background detail, the historical bits and the memories, the origin story of the Lith, but aren't a primary focus. While they're important, I find them also somewhat incidental in their sudden appearances. Personally, I don't really know why they were there. Maybe I missed the point. Apart from the fact that they had the sword, and then
they were the source for the extra power that Asha had to get in, were they? But again,
at the same time, I was like, does she need that?
Yeah, because she was already really strong, wasn't she? She was already saying that she felt like she was a lot stronger than than before, and she could do all this stuff. And like, yeah,
Hashtag girl boss.
Caden was making out like he had to destroy the Lith, and I thought the Lith were going to be this, and even that whole interaction where they decided that they were going to sacrifice themselves to like and give up their essence. It was like that even wasn't a big deal. So we had this big build up, and he needed this, and he needed to get and destroy the Lith. And then he literally had a conversation with the guy. They went away for what seemed like 2 minutes. They came back and they were like, "Yes, we are willing to sacrifice ourselves and give you our essence. We've waited thousands of years to be freed, and we can just deal with it. We'll just go off and die instead, like totally be destroyed." Like that bit I don't get.
No, why not? You absolutely want to continue into book 3, hint, nudge, wink. Okay. I hope so. Ash was probably my favourite character in this episode of the trilogy. I remember her scenes fondly. Yeah, I think she's probably my favourite as well.
Yeah. I do like her, and I did like following
the August. Like, no, not like him personally, but the whole thing for him, I was just like, just get a grip. Not just him, but like everyone around him. Oh, well, you're gifted, so you can't do this. And his mum turned around to Davian at one point and being like, "You're here unsupervised." I'm like, they're grown
up. that bit was just fucking hilarious to me. She was just like, "You're here unsupervised." He's like, "I've got a note that says I'm allowed to be here." Just
literally like going to PD and being like, I've got a note to be happy. What? Absolutely rubbish. Our boy Caden really isn't very good at keeping hold of epic loot. That's just I know he loses everything.
Easily taken off him.
He should be supervised.
Nethgala, she was interesting. She was scary, but she was interesting. The fact that she took over people's bodies and they didn't even know. The fact that Caden didn't even know that like one of his love interests had been taken over by this woman. She was psycho though. She was
proper bunny boy, like
seriously needs help.
Just the way that like there was one flashback scene of many, and he's sad or stressed or something, and like this specific drink gets brought to him, and he's like, "I've never told you about this drink. How do you know how to make this drink?" And he was like, "Wow, it's got to be her again." And then just like, what? Who? And then he's like, how long? She was like, well, I love you more or whatever. I'm like,
yeah, that was weird. It was like she would
boil your bunnies, honestly, on the stove in front of your face. Just weird.
It's like one of those little fucking, what are they called? Bunnies. Like, what are they called? When someone... what are they called?
I don't know what this is.
Do you know when someone's like totally psycho for someone?
Bunny boiler.
Bunny boiler. Yeah, bunnies. Yeah,
not a
she's a
bunny,
proper little
for a
bunny
start.
boiler, isn't she? Of like the
Yeah,
epic
and that's why I
variety.
said she'd boil your bunnies in front of your face. Don't listen to me. No one listens to me. Nobody tells me nothing. I did not have an Ethgala down on my bingo card as the big bad. I mean, when someone is chasing after you that much, it's one step, really, isn't it?
One step closer to the edge, and she did fucking break.
Yeah, like the first step is taking over your new fiance partner. Second step is world domination. Like, the casual progression of life. That's all it is. Honestly, if it was
progression of a cycle.
yeah, if that was actually the common progression of a bunny boiler, I think a lot of people would be in a lot of trouble. We would be screwed as a
Bunny
human race.
boiler fantasy edition.
Yeah. Oh,
taking over a fiance's body.
Yeah, maybe I need to get in a writing workshop and figure out how to write that.
Oh god, I loved it. But yeah, Brashada, like, I'm really really good that Brashada ended up being Nethgala because I agree with Tough
Too similar. What the heck? Brashada, Nethgala, like they're. It's the same as.
I really enjoyed the fact that like she, I say I enjoyed that she was forced into being a gifted. So like because of whatever it was, they thought that they changed into a gifted.
Yeah.
But obviously now we know that it was this gala had just like killed her and whatever.
I've been cursed.
But that would have made such a better story. In my mind,
randomly gifted.
It should have been turned into a gifted against the will, and she was like had to totally change a belief system.
Maybe that's what they should do. Like when Weir goes back to be North Warden, like all the people that are buttheads, essentially, he just makes them gifted, and then they can see what it's like to be, hated and mistreated and mistrusted, and then maybe they can start being nicer.
That really walk a mile in my shoes, like have some of these gifts.
Yeah, I think that's genius idea. Maybe I should write to James and just be like, by the way, if you do a novella, this is what you should do.
Go back in to book 2 and just splice this bit in.
No. He just needs to write a novella. It'll be fine. little novella set in between book 2 and 3. Bunny boiler edition. So you see Nethgala doing her world domination. You see her, oh my god, her and Weir could team up, and he doesn't realize who she is though, because he's still a good person. But him and her could team up, and he could make people gifted so that he's like, this is what it's like, and it's like vengeful justice, isn't it?
And then he can use the Oathstone to tell him what to do.
Well, maybe not, but at the same time. He could use the Oathstone to make them be okay with being possessed. Could be gifted, and then they're stuck, aren't they? Really? And then they can walk a mile in the gifted shoes, and maybe everyone will just be a lot nicer, or they'll just hide it in private. I think that'd be a great novella.
There it is, LinkedIn. Look at us rewriting your story. Go on.
Adding, embellishing.
Embellishing for free.
It's free, mate. This is free.
Free advice.
Somebody hire me. Be cool.
To be fair though, I did like Asher, and I did like Davian, and I did like following the augurs and learning more about the different, because obviously the different augurs have different gifts, don't they? So
I like Flossie. Is it Flossie?
Fezzy. It's a fucking weird name.
With her little time bubbles. Love time bubble. Bloody genius idea.
There's Andin died.
Who did? Yeah.
His bodyguard.
Obvious question. Did this book make you cry?
I didn't cry, no. I did tear up a little bit when Andin died.
That's why it was 2.5 stars. I universally struggle with too many names. Yeah, me too. For me, books need to repeatedly reinforce who everybody is. Yes! I'm struggling to separate all the folks in Gillig's One Dark Window this very day. Really? I didn't find that as much, but I understand your point. I think my problem is when everything is way too similar. Like Talcamar and
Yeah, it's
Tokemar and
Fessy.
Licanius and Weir and whatever Weir's other name is. I think most people have multiple names. I think
Yeah.
Davian and Ash are the only ones that don't.
She's actually called Fessaricia, but they call her Fessy.
Look, more names.
She was great. I really liked her. And what was her brother's name? Is it brother? Is it the other Augur?
They're not siblings.
Friend.
Aaron?
Augur. Aaron. Is it Aaron? Aaron?
One of them was
I don't
called
know.
Aaron.
I don't friggin' know anymore.
I have no idea.
I liked his gift of like slowing down time and like.
I thought that was her gift.
She could do it, but not as well. It's more so his gift, and he could take over people. He could control people. That's why he controlled Weir's dad.
Oh yeah, because that was when Weir's mum was like, "He killed your father."
Yeah, and again, Weir
I can see it in your eyes.
Yeah, because obviously when he took over Weir's dad's body, it was him wanting it to be his mannerisms. So she recognized his mannerisms and how he held himself, which you probably would do with it being your husband. You would notice that someone had similar.
Yeah.
Once you found out,
once you've realised that someone else is in their brain, otherwise you just be like, you spent too much time together.
Yeah.
And they did. How did you like Rowan? Who was he again?
Who was he again? I don't know.
I'm terrible. Why do I even have a channel? Like at this point, like seriously.
The thing is, though, like I did. Oh, how did you like having a few glossaries this time around? Very much appreciated.
Didn't use them because I read the audiobook.
I very much appreciated them.
Should have read them. If you're watching this back and you've never read this book and we've now spoiled the whole book for you, read the glossaries.
Because they have a glossary of names and then a glossary of like titles and places and things. So I do like the fact that we have that because I really, really needed that.
Yeah.
Because even though they started more or less as soon left off where book one left off.
Yeah.
It still took me a while to like because it'd been a few weeks since I'd read book one. It took me a while to remember who Kaden was. I was like, what?
Okay, I wasn't that bad.
Oh my god, I was. I've read so many books in between these two books that names were just.
I just read so many books. Look at me. That's rude. That's rude, mate. I thought we were friends. I just pointing out truth. Just pointing out truth. Rowan was the boy that turned up at the magic school and took over. We're reading the same book. Right, I'm missing it. Probably. Do you remember this part? Because I'm going to hand over to you.
No.
No? Is this actually what? Did this happen in the first book? Because if it happened in the first book, I got no hope of remembering it. And if it happened in the third book, I haven't read that yet. So, Rowan was a complete. Who the hell was Rowan? What does that say in your glossary? You've got your book to hand.
Let's have a gander at Rowan, shall we?
Have a gander, because I'm failing at life.
Rowan.
An
augur who arrives at Tolshen after the augur amnesty is announced. Oh, yes. I was thinking it was Rowan, as in
R-O-W-A-N.
Oh my god!
Yeah, this is why I need to read the books to actually see how things are spelled. I don't know.
I was thinking it as like Rowan because I was like, I didn't. Yeah, it's not Rowan. It's Rohin. Right? He was a dick.
Yes. Now that I know who I'm on about. Yeah, he was.
The fact that he
just backside.
What got me was like I immediately knew. I immediately knew that he was bad news when he turned up. Yeah, Rose. Yeah, it's okay to say
25%. We got
you
there in the
remembered
end.
it. It's just the spelling versus the how I thought it
Brain.
was spelled in my head.
Yeah.
The fact that like he couldn't control Davian,
Mm.
I love that. But also the fact that he totally broke a shell. Like she was not in a good place, that poor kid, was she?
No.
After what she did.
Yeah.
And that she was like really hard on herself for letting him take over her brain, and like
Yes.
it
Oh,
wasn't
yes. No, yeah, I remember exactly.
it wasn't her fault.
No.
Like that was his power, that was his augur abilities, that he could do that.
Yeah, and the worst thing is
So
that she remembered everything. Well, we reckon that she remembered everything that he did, or made her do. Did do.
I can't believe that, like, and he really thought that it was for the greater good.
Everything
He
for the
thought
great.
he thought he was doing the right thing. He was an Abigail, but
He
just
was.
not just no. He took it too far. He
Mm.
actually tried to manipulate everybody.
Yeah.
And he just no. He was. I'm glad that he's no longer with us. Passed on to the other side, hopefully dying in hell. Um,
Tell us how you really feel.
in the fiery pits of hell.
Of
Yeah,
fire.
no.
Wow.
I just yeah, that was the beginning of the end of a shell for sure. That was the beginning of the end for a shell, I
Yes.
think.
Yes.
Is that broke her, and then everything after that, and the fact that oh my god, the fact that she saw that she was gonna get impaled by those spikes, and she still went out by herself
Yeah.
and put herself in that situation. I would just have, and I get what they were trying to say about the whole, if you see it, like it's gonna happen no matter what you try and do to stop it,
Yeah.
because what you see, it could be
Mhm.
that you've seen that because you've seen it and you thought you tried to stop it, and then it
Yeah.
happened anyway, or you just whatever you see is gonna happen. So that
Yeah.
what you decide to do is already predetermined. That boggles my mind. That
Yeah.
really did boggle my mind, but it makes sense because you talked about the whole traitor thing, didn't she? Where the guy saw himself doing something, and then he left, and then he became a traitor, and then he was like,
Yeah.
yeah,
He died.
yeah. So I think poor Michelle was broken by him, and then she saw that that was going to happen to her,
Yeah.
and all this black stuff that's on these spikes that was like going through people. Obviously, at the
Mm.
end, it turned people into some kind of demon thing, didn't it?
Yeah, which is why they started chopping off
Yeah,
heads. Oh no, that's why they were burning people.
burning people. Yeah.
Yeah. So they
So
couldn't come back.
I don't know what they've done, what those things did to Michelle. Obviously, they thought they'd healed her, but she
Mm.
kept going off in those dazes, didn't she? And
Yeah, can't you hear them? I was like, dude, this is getting creepy.
she's fucking connected to the evil scorpion things.
Yeah, it's literally like if you don't. Did you get around to reading Alien Clay?
Yeah,
Yeah, like
it's like a
that.
hive mind.
Yeah, like you kind
Yeah,
of like taken over. There have been a few prophecies running throughout books 1 and 2, he says vaguely. Yeah, well, obviously I'm not clever enough to pick up on them, so we're just going in blind. 3?
I have, there have been, but I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna get out of what situation they're in now, because
Mm.
obviously I know that Asher could come out of the tributary, but if Asher is released from the tributary, the boundary will fall,
Mm.
which means that these demon things on the other side are going to cross over and
Mm.
cause absolute chaos. They've already, because of the break in the boundary, they've already had thousands cross over anyway, that
Mm.
we and everyone else is going to have to try and like
Like,
fix and like yeah, you try to kill these things now because
yeah,
thousands have got through. So it would just be an absolute massacre if
yeah,
the boundary was dropped. So we know that it needs to stay up. So that means that Asha is going to have to stay where she is. But I don't want Asha to stay where she is because I like her and she's going to be getting tortured. Like, that tributary is not a nice place to be, constantly being pricked for essence that's inside you, and like never like you might have to stay there like for thousands of years. Like
You said
what
you'd come and check on me. You never did.
so it was like that Davian like going walking up in like 80-year-old man like
Mm.
I'm still here for you, Asha, and she's still like stuck there in the tributary.
Mm. Don't know. Not sure.
Unbelievable.
I'm not really sure what's going to happen in Book 3, I'll be honest. Devian's going to figure out a way to get back.
Obviously, yeah, but I think we're gonna lose some people because at the moment we've come close to losing some people we like, but we haven't quite lost them. I'm saying that because we haven't lost Asha. She's still technically alive in the state that she's in.
I wonder if he's the sort of author. This is the first series that I've read of him, or first anything that I've read from James Islington. Is he the sort of author that will kill people? Like, is he going to do a Matthew Ward?
See, I don't know because I'm trying to think in the first book he
Still
didn't
haven't
kill off
given.
anyone of importance, did he?
No.
And to be fair, Andin in the bodyguard is not of importance to anyone. When the Queen
Man. You are not important.
he's not a main dude though, is he? He's not one of the
No.
one of the main people. And when his cousin came, beginning with the C, can't remember her name, I thought she was gonna die because it's like, why would she come over?
Alendra?
She was that's it. Like she's like, well, I need to come over to help turn the houses to your way of thinking, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But then when she came, I thought she was gonna die instead of Galindra, but obviously she didn't. She got free, which is fine. But we've still got we've still got Ashley, we've still got Davy, we've still got Fessy and her friend, whatever. We've still got a Shell because she's just got a bit loopy. But she's not dead. So we still got all our main people.
Yeah.
That seem to be quite integral to the story. We've still got Caden, despite I tell you what, I nearly threw up when it was explaining that his arm was being chopped off and then like Caden, not Caden, Davian walked in and there was blood everywhere, but then he couldn't see any blood, and then it turns out that it was like chopping parts of Caden off, and then like
yeah, that wasn't pleasant to listen to actually.
I visualize things in my head when I read, so I felt so sick. I felt so sick, and despite like I don't know, this really does give you like people's beliefs really will push them to do some evil fucking shit.
Yes, but whose beliefs are right and whose beliefs are wrong?
That's the thing, though, isn't it? Because another Davian apparently came to Caden and said that you're on the wrong side.
Oh, yeah, timey-wimey, trippy stuff. Yeah.
But is that really Davian, or was that somebody else pretending to be Davian just to try and trick him? Because he ended up getting rid of him, didn't he? But that would have been a future Davian. But we don't know. It was never really clarified whether that actually was Davian of the future, or whether it was maybe Nethgala who's taken over Davian's body, or someone else has taken, or someone's trying to make themselves look like Davian. We don't know. So that threw a spanner in the works.
That is
because
true.
we at the moment, or me at the moment, I'm thinking the side that we and Asha and Davian are on is the good side.
Yeah.
And that the other people that are still saying that like following L are on the bad side.
Yeah.
Because L's supposed to be like L was like all for mass murder and cleansing everyone and like fucking
love their mass murder.
It reminded me of like like ethnic cleansing type of situation. Yeah. It has to be done. This is the only way. Like cleansing like that. Morally, ethnic cleansing types of situations is never right. So in my mind, that is on the right side. But are we really being tricked? And are these actual ugly looking things really not the bad guys? And maybe the other people who look to be good guys are not real. I don't know. I'm confusing myself now. I don't know who's good and who's bad.
Tufty omits himself from timey-wimey discussions for fear of saying too much.
Have you read them all?
Yeah, he's read the whole series.
Oh.
So he knows stuff.
See, I'm just braining like
I'm just braining.
the ending really, really intrigued me, and like the way that everything happened, and and I don't know, it's just the way that these things were talking through a shell.
Yeah.
And the fact that it was kind of like a hive mind type situation, but some of them were saying one thing, some of them were saying another.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, are they actually the bad guys, or is it a case of, I can't remember what book I read before, whereas the reason they turned bad is because their habitat was encroached upon, so they were defending themselves. So they were seen as, so maybe people have encroached on their habitat, and tried to like eradicate them. So they fought back, and then they were seen as the bad guys, and then they're the ones that have been put behind this boundary. But where they can't use Khan, can they? Or it's harder to use Khan across the boundary.
Yeah.
Why? For why?
That sounds, when you're talking about people encroaching, sounds like, is it the T.A. Bruno trilogy?
I've not read out from him though.
Oh, never mind then. That's the only one that I can think of like that.
I'm
because
trying to think of something else I've read recently where it was like the reason that it might not have been recently. I think it might have been Iron Widow that I was reading ages ago. I'm sure I've read a book, and where like what they thought were the bad guys were actually just creatures defending their habitat because it was being encroached upon and destroyed by people. And I think it might be the case in this case, and that the reason why but I just don't understand why they can't use Khan. But Davian has to have Khan to his ability, or his situation is that he has to be able to essence, and Khan is like he lives off it, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So I know he can find, he's got essence now because he can find essence in that. They found that place on the other side of the boundary. But
we found that place over there, down yonder.
Yeah, because he said the way that their bodies work is they have to be able to pull on Khan, and they they have to be able to have essence to live. So I don't know how they're gonna get through this, because everything's just gone to shit on it.
A little bit.
We is no longer on the other side of the boundary to help him, because he's gonna have to leave and go sort his shit out at home because his mum's dead.
Yeah, something like that.
He's gonna have to be the North Warden. Oh, he already is.
Anyways.
The North Warden.
North Warden of the North.
Warden of the North. Oh, I've just rambled then, but do you know when you get a brain wave?
I don't know when I get a brain, because I don't think I've been gifted one of them from the wizard yet, if I'm honest. Waves? Yeah, sure.
When you get a brain wave, it's just like all these things that were coming out at the end, and like all these little. And this is why I think if I reread it, I would immersion read it and tab it, because there are little things that are dropped.
Yeah.
Not near the end when it's sort of like speedy. But I don't know. It's those little things that sort of make you think. How the fucking. Usually, I have a thought about how they're gonna get out of a certain situation.
You got no thoughts nowhere. I got no thoughts nowhere. So many threads and strands yet to be woven together. Honestly, I think we need to start. Me almost falling over. I think we need to start reading some more easy books, because
We Are the Dead is more of a. Well, for those of you who don't know, the next series we're going to read is the. It starts with We Are the Dead. I keep forgetting the name of the series, and we fucking picked the series.
The Last War.
The Last War.
But that's not until later this year, anyways.
Oh yeah, but we've got Rob J. Hayes before then. We're fine, aren't we? We've got good old Robbie Rob.
Rob first, then
we've got Mr. Rob J. Hayes, Along the Razor's Edge, Esther. Esther's gonna come and save the day.
Yeah, so we have one more book in this series. The life will be on Lisa's channel next month. We've already set a date, but give us a week and we'll announce it, just in case.
Just in case.
In case. But yeah, I'm looking forward to finishing this trilogy.
Yeah. I'm hoping that
Be where it's at.
I'm hoping that the third book brings it back up, because the
Yeah.
first book was a 5-star for me. Absolutely smashed it.
Yeah.
And this is the first time in a long time, I think, that where I've been like underwhelmed by a book that I had like really high expectations for. I've been underwhelmed by books in the last couple of months, but I was like had high expectations for this one.
Yeah. War Eternal is our next one. Lisa just got confuddled, which is fine.
I did, and I set the schedule and I made the graphics, and I still forgot.
Right, we're confuddly people. And what? What's this one? Eska will be an easier one than I. Yeah. Sure.
I mean,
she's a bit more mouthy, but yeah.
Oh my god, that reminds me. I'm gonna have to read what Eska goes through again, aren't I?
Yeah.
Oh, fun! Yay for me. I'm gonna have to read book 1 all over again. I read the War Eternal. That's the series. I read Along the Razor's Edge last year, and what a shame! I'll have to reread it.
It's just that scene. And don't get me wrong, and I'll say this again when we read it, we do the live stream. Rob handles it very well, but it's still cringy as hell.
Yeah.
Not fan. But I'm not ruining that series in this live because that completely defeats the object. We'll come back and do the live for that. Same. Love book 1, struggled with book 2. I'll review all about book 3 in a month. Cool. See you then.
I think I'm really gonna go into book 3 with positive vibes, positive thoughts.
Go into it with the idea that it means I finish a series, and therefore ticks it off.
Oh, good.
And we'll go from there.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be fine, funky, fresh, and fabulous.
Oh, I'm not. No. You don't walk into a book going, "This is going to be 5 stars," unless that's a prompt someone has given you, because that is always recipe for failure.
I said fine, funky, fresh, and fabulous, not 5 stars. There's a difference. There could have been 4 stars and still be fine, funky, fresh, and fabulous.
But fine sounds like 5.
Fine, funky, fresh, and fabulous.
I know that scene to which you refer. I remember we talked. Yes, we did talk about it. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to reading that bit again, but it'd be fine. There's also lots of stabbing.
Stabby. I love it. Hopefully there'll be more stabby going along in this one. But to the bad guys.
They're more like less stab.
I
think
we're gonna get more of those black spears popping up and people being turned into some kind of demon thing.
Spear people.
Demon people.
Spearmen.
Demons.
And with that, we will be back next month on Lisa's channel for the final book, which is behind me, The Light of All That Falls. I have to check because the titles are so bloody long that I don't remember them. So we will see you then. We hope you've enjoyed. One more book to go. Woo!
Tatty, bye, my loves.
Bye.
Bye.
Hang on, there's a second.
Enjoy.
Bye.